quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Come on in to Toyota of Hollywood, where curiosity and extraordinary deals await you. Your golden ticket buys a 2025 Corolla, not $26,000, $17,988. And we've got sweet deals with 0% financing for 72 months, 0 down. Enter our world of wonder, and we'll show you why we're the #1 volume Toyota dealer. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is...
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Set the rhythm of your smart home with Sloman Shield Link, the new integrated smart home platform that automates your life just the way you want it. Sloman Shield Link. Be the maestro of your own home.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649. Or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Hi, this is Jeff, formerly of Welton Realm, PA, a longtime sponsor of the Big O Show. Now that Dan retired, I opened Welton Associates. I started this firm with a simple belief. When you hire a lawyer, you should be able to talk to your lawyer. For nearly 30 years, I have helped Floridians through serious legal problems. At my firm, you get direct access to me, clear communication, and a lawyer who knows the details of your case. I believe technology should make legal representation easier, not more impersonal. At Welton Associates, you get direct access to me, clear answers, personal attention, and real advocacy. Look us up at weltlawfirm.com or give me a call at 954-966-4646. Consultations are always free. And let me know that you found me at the Big O Show.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
There's just one place to enjoy your Acura Summer of Performance event, Acura of Pembroke Pines. So hit the road in the new RDX, $419 a month. Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
Welcome aboard. Time to have some fun on the show. Make sure everything kosher on the audio side. Want to make sure, give me the thumbs up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Got plenty of football talk today, even though the Dolphins are off today in practice because they do the 3-day on, 1 day off, 3-day on, 1 day off type of thing. That's the way the half man likes to do it. All right, a beautiful Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. It is day number 19,197 since our beloved Miami Dolphins were world champions. Maybe Half and Sully can erase that in a couple years. The Canes, today is day number 8,990, 8,980 since they were national champions, and day number 4,793. Since the Miami Heat were world champions. No, sir. Sean did not quit the show, okay? Sean got another gig, all right? Needs insurance, if you need to know. And we don't provide insurance. So it's good for him, actually. It's a really good gig for him, and I'm proud. I'm happy for him, actually. And the good thing is that technology, as I've done this, I don't need a whole ton of equipment to do it anymore. I need only a couple little pieces, and it's even an idiot like me can actually kind of set it up more often than not. I mean, I'm not perfect yet. We're gonna
screw it up sometimes, but we'll get there where we're perfect. Let's see. You're the only one that's Jaybird. You say a little low. Does it sound a little low? All right, I can raise it a little bit, and then you guys can check it out there. Let's see on this. Yeah. Raise it a little bit, and then you guys can. It sounds pretty good. All right. Anyway, so all good. Always appreciate all of you tuning in. As always, thank you. We're going to have Eric Edholm today. We've had him on in the past several times. Yahoo NFL and NFL Draft Insider for Yahoo. We'll talk some Dolphins and NFL with Eric at 10:30. Dave Hyde will join us, as Dave now is on Substack after leaving the Sun Sentinel after all these years. And so he is on his own. As I told him yesterday, man, you handle this the right way, and you can enjoy yourself than, much better than working for somebody. You know what I mean? And you'll have freedoms that you've never had before, and I have freedoms that I've never had before. I can say what I want, and I can give my opinion, and I don't have to worry about, the politics of pissing off some team or some PR department, or because the team is on my station or whatever, and I always had to worry about those kind of, well, actually, I'm sorry. They had to worry about those politics. I never gave a shit. That never, I'm going to tell you what I feel. Too bad. You know what I mean? I don't care. That's kind of the way it's always been, but you can't do that anymore. You just can't get away with it like I did for 30 years. They don't allow you to do that anymore. And so they're getting rid of all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, but thank you all out there. Looking forward to talking to Dave and get his thoughts on the Dolphins and the Canes and all that good stuff. All right? Appreciate all of you out there as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get to a 3A Graphics Sports calendar. Let's start that off. Tonight is Leagues Cup for the MLS. Useless tournament, but Inter Miami is in, and they're taking on Atlético de San Luis, and they will be hosting them at New Stadium on Saturday at 8 o'clock. Monterrey will be in from Mexico, also at New Stadium. You can get your tickets for that. That'll be at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Tonight will be at 7:30. We'll see if the boys do their thing. Who knows? Dolphins CEO Tom Garfinkel steps down. He'll still lead the Miami Grand Prix F1 race, so he'll still run that. But on the other side, Danny Silman will be running everything else. Zay Flowers, the loco kid, he gets a 4-year extension worth $140 million. 108 of it is guaranteed by the Ravens. Also, Falcons edge rusher Jalen Walker is feared to have torn an ACL in practice. They were doing 11-on-11s, and he went down. He had 5.5 sacks last year for the Falcons. For the Dolphins, there is no practice today for Miami. They will enjoy the day off. If you're looking for custom printing and embroidery, please reach out to my guy, Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443 for custom printing and embroidery. All right, all right, all right. Ah, yes. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something that I never do. And I'm going to get rid of music right now and get it done. And then I'll just stick to Sports Talk the rest of the way, since we've got a couple of interviews coming up back to back. So let's start off with famous people born on August 5th. All right, we'll start off first with musicians. Jennifer Finch, bassist with the American rock band L7, born in 1966. Adam Yauch from the Beastie Boys, rest in peace. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2012. He was born on this date in 1964. Stuart Croxford from Kaja Gugu, born in 1960. Pat Smear from the influential punk band Germs, born in 1959. Eddie Fingers Ojeda, guitarist with Twisted Sister, born in 1955. Gregory Lesky, I think is how it's pronounced. I don't know. From the Guess Who, born in 1947. Rick Derringer, rock and roll, hoochie coo, born in 1947. Let's see. Rick Huxley from the Dave Clark 5, born in 1942. Now we move on to other famous people born on this date. Remember, if I don't give you an age, that means that sadly they have passed away. All right? And let's see where it is. Here we go. Because somehow or another the thing didn't come up. All right, now, here we go. Filmmaker John Huston, born in 1906. U.S. General Hazel Johnson, born in 1927. Astronaut Neil Armstrong, born in 1930. Hockey Hall of Fame member Herb Brooks. Do you believe in miracles? Born in 1937. Actress Lonnie Anderson, 1945. Musician Dave Hungate from Toto, born in 48, still with us. He's 78. Actress Maureen McCormick, still with us, born in 56. She's 70. Musician Pete Burns from Dead or Alive, born in 59. Pat Smear from Nirvana and Foo Fighters, born in 59. He's 67. Hall of Fame member, and he's probably sweating right now as we speak. Patrick Ewing, born in 62. He's 64 years old. Musician Jeff Coffin from Dave Matthews Band and Fleck and the Flecktones, born in 65. He's 61. Actor Jonathan Silverman, born in 66. He's 60. Celebrity chef David Chang, born in 77. He's 49. Actor Jesse Williams, born in 81. He's 45. You know, I just saw the other day a movie called Brooklyn's Finest, and Jesse was in there. Brooklyn's Finest might be one of the movies with the greatest cast for a movie that sucks. Just going to say that. I mean, since it's Jesse Williams' birthday, he was in there. I just, you know, if you've ever run into Brooklyn's Finest, don't even waste your time. Because you'll look at all the actors in it, and you'll go, oh, this has got to be a really good freaking movie, dude. I mean, they spent some money. They got some actors on that. I mean, the list is crazy. And the movie sucks. Terrible movie. Never saw it till this weekend. Olympic runner bobsledder Lolo Jones. Is she finally married? You're like in your 30s and you haven't gotten married? Do you even know if it works still? Might be like closed permanently or something? I don't know. Anyway, born in 82, she's 44. Let's see, musician Don Richard from Danity Kane. Born in 83, she's 43. Don't even know who the hell she is. Musician Youngblood. I actually know who Youngblood is. Don't listen to him, don't care, but I know who Youngblood is. Born in 97, 29. Ant-Man is born today in 2001. He's 25. And actor Albert Sy, born in 2004. He is 22. There you go. All right. All right. Now we move over to what happened today in music history. We start off in 78. The Rolling Stones went to number 1 on the U.S. singles charts with Miss You, the group's 8th U.S. number 1. In 79, Def Leppard signed to Phonogram Records with an advance of £120,000, $180,000 in U.S. dollars, giving them a 10% royalty on 100% of the sales for the first 2 years. In 83, Elvis Costello with The Attractions released her 8th studio album, Punch the Clock, and it features Every Day I Write the Book, Shipbuilding, and Let 'Em All Talk. In 86, Lionel Richie released his 3rd studio album, Dancing on the Ceiling, and it features the title track, Say You, Say Me, Ballerina Girl, Say La. In 86, Culture Club keyboard player Michael Rudsky was found dead at Boy George's London home in Hampstead. In 97, 311 released their fourth studio album, Transitor, and it features the title track, Beautiful Disaster. They're actually pretty good live. I've seen them a couple times. In 2007, DNA testing about a dozen people who claimed late soul star James Brown was their father revealed that at least 2 of them were telling the truth. The other were just searching for some money. In 2009, Steven Tyler of Aerosmith fell off the stage at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in South Dakota, suffering injuries to his head, neck, which forced the rest of their tour to be canceled. Tyler fell when he was entertaining the crowd with a dance while a technical problem was being fixed. You're too old to dance, bro, but that's all right. Us old people, sometimes we think we're still young, and then we get in trouble. In 2004, Spoon released their 8th studio album, They Want My Soul. It features Do You, Rent I Pay, and Inside Out. In 2016, Dinosaur Jr. released their 11th studio album, Give Me a Glimpse of What You're Not, and it features Tiny and Going Down. And let me see if there's any birthdays that weren't on the other list. Willie Weeks, session and touring bassist with David Bowie, Rod Stewart, George Harrison, Isaac Hayes. Stevie Wonder is 79. He deserves mention because he is a talent. And Jeff Coffin of Bella Fleck and the Flecktones, 61. Baby Rose is 31. And Travie McCoy, lead vocalist of Gym Class Heroes. I know them. 45. And that's what happened today in music history. There we go. Get that out of the way. All right. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, smash that like button. Very important you smash that like button. Gets the algorithms going. Remember, you can visit our friends at Caneswear. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off online or in person. It doesn't matter. And online, by the way, if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. Might as well, right? Save you a little money there. You know what I'm saying? There we go. All right. What else do we have here? Let me see what we got. A little roll call. Big Johnson, I see. Jaybird, NorCal, Cosa, think Blue Dodgers. NorCal says, picking up Planet of the Grapes, Waking and Bacon with the Big O crew. Thank you, sir. RJ is in. Lenny Pena. John Padilla. Oscar Rojas is smashing it. Danny and Hialeah. Just checked out the Aaron Rodgers rant. Loved it. Fauci should be in jail. All these idiots in the media, they wanted people in jail for passing on the vax. Those are the laws. Those are the rules. What else are you going to do? It's what they set in place. They all lie, dude. They all lie. Why do you think Trump took the 5th? Why do you think Fauci takes the 5th? Why do you think Janet Yellen tells you that the inflation is transitory? Why do you think that these idiots tell you there's a deal in place 600 times? Why do you think they tell you years ago, was it George Bush, that they had weapons of mass destruction and they didn't? They all lie, my brother. You know what I mean? You better wake up, my man. If you think it's just on, what do you think they're doing right now? You think they're all telling you the truth right now, the people that are in place? Danny and Hialeah? Wake the hell up, dude. Get your head out of your ass. They all lie. They're all pieces of shit. Problem is that most of you out there, you keep playing this stupid little party shit. I just saw a guy on X go, well, I'm going to vote Republican because the Dems are going to turn down the crypto bill. Okay, so then you're all for a useless war, interest going up, interest rates going up, skyrocketing. You're all for gas prices going up. You're all for all that then. Okay, that's responsible. So vote for the people that are going to keep doing all this other stuff that's going on. And by the way, are they passing anything? Are they doing anything? The House takes more days off than they're on. So, Danny, you can play whatever side you want. What they're doing is playing you, dude. That's all. That's all I can tell you. So they're all lying sacks of crap. But all we can do is follow rules and laws. During that entire time, I was outside working. I wasn't stuck in the house. You can go look at the videos. I was doing 3, 4, 5, even live shows sometimes a week. But easily 3 or 4 every week I was out. I never stopped working. Wear the mask. I took I had to take the vax because I've got 5 stents. People are dying. People did die, right? So, either way, man, whatever. I got through it like I'm going to get through all of it, but I don't buy into anything. Only suckers buy into whatever is going on with the Republicans or whatever is going on with the Democrats. Only suckers. That's all I see. And Danny, that's all I see, baby. Anyway, Pulido is in the house. What else do we have? Francesco. Big O and Dave Hyde is on 1-2 punch. We need it today. Thank you, sir. Let's see. What else? Volume is still low? Really? All right. I mean, I turned it up even more now. Oh, really? It's that bad? All right. I mean, I turned it up even more now. I don't know. It just sounds fine. It's that bad? Sounds fine, dude. I don't understand. I don't know. It just sounds sounds fine, dude. I don't understand. All right. Well, I cranked it up. Now, maybe sometimes when I'm off mic, it might affect it. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, let's see. None of those people care. They all have money. They could care less. The middle class and the poor are paying the price. Exactly, Dolphin Dave. But they're the ones that get suckered. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem that we have here. Being an independent is the way to go. The only problem, Fitz, is there's not enough of us. I mean, my stupid voter's registration card still says Republican. I've never changed it in my life because why am I going to change it to independent when, it just doesn't matter anymore. It sucks. Anyway, let's see. What do we have here? Ray Varnegas, who's your favorite athlete to interview in your time of doing this? Oh, my God. That's hard, bro. Zach Thomas, P.J. Brown, Richmond Webb, Keith Sims. That's hard. There's a lot of them because, I like the guys that are cool no matter what. Something shitty happened, something great happened, but they treated everything professionally. All those guys that I mentioned, I could approach them in the worst moment and in the best moments. And those are my favorite. Those are my favorite athletes, the ones that can handle all the adversity. Because I admire the shit out of that. Because it's really hard when you've had a rough day to then also have to answer about that. Nobody ever does that to us. When we have a rough day, when we get home, nobody's like picking at you and asking you, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? What? And you might be doing it to yourself, which we all do because it's human nature, but then to have somebody pick at it, yeah, that kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? Those are my favorite athletes, usually, guys like that. I can think of more along the way as time goes on. Pat Surtain was great with me. In that sense, so was Sam Madison. Yeah, there's some guys out there that were really, really good to deal with. Brian Grant was a pleasure to deal with. Um, yeah, there's some guys out there. I could think of guys throughout time. Let's see. Big O, governments have been lying to their people since the invention of governments and democracy back in Greece and Rome. So naive people out there need to wake up. I know, Oscar. I know. I try to tell people that, but we have too many cheerleaders in our country, and that's why we're in this mess. Because you won't look at your own party. Look at the Trumpers, bro. Those are the most embarrassing people I've ever seen in my life. You go up to a Trumper and try to tell him, okay, so tell me this stuff that Trump does wrong, because he does a lot of shit wrong. And they don't even have the balls to mention it. They're afraid. That's disgusting. Weak. Shit like that. That's the kind of people that we have nowadays following politics. They've got to be little fanboys and fangirls. They're embarrassing, dude. What are you going to do? Anyway, Jeff in Long Island, I'm an independent, but I do think that independent voters should be allowed to vote in both parties. We don't, so I just keep it in Republican. I haven't moved anything because it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care. It's just like it's not like I care about either party. And until we actually have a real independent, which it won't happen in my lifetime. I'll be 60 in October, dude. There's no way we'll have a third party that will challenge. That will take so long. It won't happen in my lifetime. Maybe in my daughter's lifetime. Maybe. Looks like Stephen Ross has handed off the team to new blood. Yes, sir. We talked a little bit about that. Did Marino treat you right? I had a terrific relationship with Marino. Me. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Marino was the easiest guy to deal with. I can only talk about me. I can never say a bad thing about Marino. Not just the player, I mean the person with me. Okay? Dan has always been cool with me when I had to deal with him. And overall, and I'm talking about when I see him out of the building. Like you'll see a picture of me and Dan. We're at Taco Craft in Fort Lauderdale, dude. We're completely away from a football environment or anything like that. This was all a business thing that he was a part of, and I was there. And so we were, chatting up and BSing and all that. And I can't say a bad thing ever about Marino, but I know that that's not the norm. I've seen him go at it with other people and stuff, so, I don't know what it is. But I never had an issue with Marino, and I can never say one bad thing about him. I got nothing but love for Marino. He always treated me right. Let's see. O.J. McDuffie, oh, my God. That's gold. That's money. That's another guy. I should have mentioned him right away. Love O.J. McDuffie. He is freaking awesome, dude. He's perfect. He's just a great human being, and he was a pro and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Fitz, people can't admit they're wrong. That's the whole key, that they look bad, so they can't say anything because it's on them. It's shameful, dude. It's shameful. Ocala Joe, morning home. Maybe you should put in get your head out of your ass alert. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Big O's Yorkie has more balls than Republicans or Dems. Yeah, way more. Yeah. Too much for his body, but, I didn't cover Mark Clayton. I'm not that old. I mean, it was, I think let me see, my year might have been right at the end of it. Let me see. I can't say that I had more, more interaction with Mark Clayton post his career than during his career. So I couldn't, and by the way, post career, he's always cool. I've never had an issue with Mark Clayton. Mark Clayton is absolutely fantastic. So that I can't say anything about him. But I never really, yeah, he was Right. Yeah, he was like right at the end of when I came in. At 91, he was like is his final year. I didn't have that much interaction with Clayton and Duper, at that point. It was very little because my first 2 years, I went to camp, but it was kind of sporadically, not as like every day. I didn't go every day until I started at QAM, actually, to be quite honest. When I started at QAM, that's when I was forced to go every day that I didn't know. That was different. It was a whole different ballgame. Where I was before, I was at a Haitian station and at a Colombian station, and then I went to Wins, which was news that had sports updates. You know what I mean? So throughout that, I would get credentials to go, but it wasn't the same. And then when I got to QAM finally, that's when I was on a sports station, and then I was given the chance to become a beat reporter, and then I was there every day. So my first 2 years, I barely had any. So I can't even talk about a relationship or anything like that. But post-career, both Clayton and Duper always. I used to have Duper on almost every year when I would go to the Senior Bowl because he was always at the Senior Bowl. And always, every single time he was at the Senior Bowl, and I could get Duper on all the time there in Mobile. That was actually cool. All right. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. All right. All right, what else do we have going on here? Let's see. All right. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Appreciate you all out there as always. Thank you all out there. Ray, thank you, my brother. Appreciate the love, man. He says, good morning, my brother, to you and R&M Contractors team. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you immensely. Very kind of you. Remember, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Let's see. All right. All right. There we go. Let's see. All right. We're going to get Eric now in a minute. He is caught up, and then he's getting back home, so we'll get to him in a second. So that's why I've been going back and forth here at the same time. Appreciate it. Pat Smear, the Foo Fighters and Nirvana fame also. There you go. Is Greer the worst GM in NFL history? With resources I've given him 6 years. What he accomplished? Big fan from Toronto, Big O. They did get to the playoffs a couple times. I don't know if I would call it the worst. I would say that it all depends, man, on how you want to look at it. But I think, listen, this is the way I look at it. What GM has been good, dude? What are you trying to decide who's the worst of the worst? Like, do you have a life? Since the 70s, nothing is acceptable. Nothing. I actually think what Jimmy Johnson did to Dan Marino is worse than anything that's ever happened in the history of the Miami Dolphins. the evil shit that he came in and stripped Marino of the audibles, took away his pass-catching running backs, took away his Pro Bowl receiver, and the offense struggled massively. And everybody talks about how he built the defense, but how he embarrassed Marino, brought in a wildcat player to Marino would have to walk off the field for a wildcat player. So I'm not exactly sure, because if you don't get anything done, which he didn't, he got to the playoffs and got embarrassed, just like all the other GMs that got to the playoffs and got embarrassed overall. But he then went out of his way to embarrass Dan Marino and end his career on the worst note ever. So what I would tell you, McMillan, overall, is, dude, drop that shit. Have a standard like I do. And let's just say that what's happened the last 40 years is unacceptable, bro, by everybody. By Shula all the way to the end. Shula was a joke as a GM. He killed himself. Like we used to say, Shula the GM is killing Shula the coach. We all knew he could coach, but he couldn't GM. So, I don't know, dude. Like, Robin Senline for Anthony Carter is one of the worst trades I've ever seen in my entire life. If you ever watch what Anthony Carter became, there's a lot of bad stuff that has gone on. And by the way, Shula's one of the worst GMs, maybe worse than all of them. Do you know how many horrible picks and trades that Shula made? If we're going to be honest, Hugh Green trade never worked out, and Eric Green, and drafting Kumaro, and drafting Boza, and I mean, we could just go on and 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 on. Shula was rarely hitting on the picks, and the Marino one was pure luck. So why don't we do this, McMillan? Okay, let's just say that every GM sucks. Every GM hasn't gotten it done. Who cares? I don't want any of them. From Shula till now, I don't want any of them. They can all go. Not one of them has been good enough. That's what I would tell you, my brother. To worry about who's the worst? My God, that's some petty-ass shit when your entire franchise is a joke. We're going to worry about who's the worst of the worst. Not the worst of the best. No, the worst of the worst. That's not really a discussion that's worth even having. Welton Associates, well, that's also a discussion not worth. Why are you going to call other lawyers? You call Jeff Welt, who knows how to get it done, who's been at this for decades. 954-966-4646. You get direct access to your attorney, clear communication, and, of course, the results. As you all know, those of you that have called in for the last 7 years, well, there you go. When it was Welton Rayom. Now, Dan retired. He's now flying his stunt plane full-time, but Jeff Welt is rocking on, baby. Personal injury, property insurance claims, bankruptcy, all these things are terrorizing us constantly. Hopefully it's not happening to you. Hopefully you'll never need the number. But if you do, the consultation's free. 954-966-4646. They've got their own adjusters. They'll send their adjusters to assess the damage to your home, car, business, all of that. Then they'll attack the insurance company. Never call the insurance company. Call Welton Associates first. 954-966-4646. Let's see. Did Kirk Herbstreit save the Canes? Maybe. At one point, they looked in the mirror and said, we got to spend, and they started spending. You know? So, what are you going to do? Chris Greer couldn't find a head coach. That's all he did wrong, and he let them dictate how he drafted. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's what ended up costing him the job. Yeah. I was so high on Jimmy Johnson being our coach, had a poster of the SI cover Sunshine Boys. Yeah. We all were, dude. We were all pumped up about Jimmy. You're not the only one, my brother. Every one of us were drinking that Kool-Aid. We were guzzling that Kool-Aid. He did everything in Dallas, and and Shula wasn't looking good, and we all bought into that, dude. Every one of us. Let's see here. Okay. Bill Belichick was terrible as well. Yeah, as a GM, he did a lot of bad shit, no doubt. But he did get some help early on, and Greer is the one that helped him with Brady. Big Johnson says, JJ was so hard-headed and arrogant, he took control from Marino, and he would get so frustrated with the D we had. We could have been a lot better Marino's way. I know, dude. But what are you going to do? This is a guy that even after Randy Moss exploded, he still says, no, I wouldn't have drafted him even if he was there. I would have drafted Vonnie Holiday. Which Vonnie would have turned out to be a good player and a good pick. We ended up getting him later on in his career. Don't get me wrong, he was a good player for Green Bay, a good draft pick overall. But, the ignorance of Jimmy Johnson, I don't. Problem is that as time goes on, people forget and they don't really remember a lot of the things and what really went on and how. And then those of you that are too young, you didn't really experience it. And to see him shit all over Marino the way he did, and I was there in person watching it all, unacceptable, dude. Absolutely unacceptable the way that man behaved with Marino. It was a disgrace. And I'll never forgive him for that. He will never get a break on this show ever for that shit. What he did to Marino? Nah, man. No way. Not doing it. Not going for it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right, what else do we have? Let's see, Jeff in Long Island. We're all blind-ass fans being excited about Jimmy. I was too. Miles Deep, shout out to the Chargers for not only having Mike McDumbass, but Adam Waste as well. John Avery, draft pick, exactly. True Fin says, I absolutely hate Jimmy Johnson. What he did to 13 was pure shit. He wanted to trade him when he got here and bust a Herschel Walker move. When he didn't get it, he tried to sabotage the legend. No, he sabotaged the legend. Well, he sabotaged him. He sabotaged him. Completely sabotaged him. He ruined the end of Marino's career. There's no way that Marino was enjoying himself those last couple of years dealing with that idiot. No freaking way. At all. By the way, the market is up 626 points. Right now, S&P is up 33. The NASDAQ is up almost 2 points. SpaceX is down 10 points, down to $114. A lot of stupid money came in. And just to give you a little, nearly $1 billion in SpaceX shares becomes eligible for trading tomorrow. So the big dump is coming in. Be prepared. I think this is now when we make our move to go under 100 here with SpaceX. And by the way, and a couple of other things. As we tell you, we're pro-Bitcoin. Never financial advice here because it's been hanging around 60, 65. Right now, Bitcoin is sitting at the 64,381 range. It's been between 60 and 65 for a while now. but we are pushing now to 65. There is 2 days left for the Clarity Act to be passed. It's not going to be passed. This is just going to go by the wayside, and we'll see what ends up happening. The positive of it is you don't have Gensler in place. So it's the wild, wild west with this administration in place. I mean, the president ripped people off for $1.4 billion in crypto. There are no guardrails whatsoever. He can do all the scamming he wants, so will everybody else. So if you don't put the Clarity Act in, it'll be the wild, wild west, and it'll continue. Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to grow no matter what. This will hurt crypto eventually. There's no doubt, but it won't hurt Bitcoin. Bitcoin will continue to grow. The government's about to inject $9 billion into the economy. They're going to print $9 billion. And now I just saw Bank of America CEO predict that there will be 3 rate hikes this year, which creates all kinds of problems. The U.S. has to refinance their debt, which is approaching $40 trillion, which will easily hit $40 trillion by October. And you're going to refinance it at a much higher rate, which they were supposed to refinance it at a lower rate because they were supposed to lower rates. But, of course, you've got an idiot in place. There's no way that's going to happen. So you've also got MasterCard trying to expand stablecoin push with the crypto credential pilot. This train doesn't stop. So they will continue to build, and then at one point or another, you're going to get some regulations and some rules. And when that happens, then the entire industry just absolutely explodes. But I still expect Bitcoin and Ethereum to continue to move. I don't expect the Clarity Act to pass because I expect them to kind of block it, especially the Dems. They've always been against it as it is. But considering all the shadiness that went on with Trump, he's the one that's going to end up killing it because they don't want him to have a victory, plus they don't want him to continue to abuse no matter what. And because it's already happened, this is what you get. This is why I laugh at the crypto bros out there that got suckered by Trump during the election. And I'm a strong Bitcoin crypto guy. You guys know it. But I've never been suckered by Trump because I know what he is. So that's the difference. By the way, we thank our friends at R&M Contractors. They are always sponsors of all of our crypto and Bitcoin segments. And they do it all for you, man. Dade and Broward County, complete remodel, kitchen upgrades, waterproofing, terrace balcony, flood test report, impact windows and door installations, bathroom upgrades, floor restorations, maintenance. If you need to fix that home up, that condo, call my guys at R&M Contractors, Ray and Mike. The cell phone is right there, 305-345-3649. And if you need to see proof of how exceptional their work is, it's all on Instagram, man. They take all kinds of beautiful videos. RMC Fisher Island is the Instagram page, RMC Fisher Island. Check it out, R&M Contractors. All righty. Will ever Jimmy Johnson get in a B-Day calendar? I don't know. Does it? If it comes up on the list, it's not like I track it. I don't even know when it is. So if they say it, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right. Looks like we're not going to be able to get Eric at this point because we got Hyde coming up at 11. Okay. Let's see. All right, what else do we have? I just popped in. Used to watch years ago. Negative attitude ran everyone away. Barry, I don't really give a shit, dude. I tell the truth. If you don't like it, you can haul ass, dude. You know? I'm not asking you to stick around, my man. So, you know, I don't worry about that kind of stuff, dude. I've never worried about that kind of stuff. Okay? So, you know, you can, I call it like it is. Like I said last year, the Dolphins would have a shitty season, and they had a shitty season. That's all. If you can't handle the truth, I can't help you, man. You know, that's just kind of the way it goes. Let's see. No on the B-Day graphic. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know about that. Proud ass to say I have heard 1 second of the Dolphin. I have heard 1 second of the Dolphin Collective. Alan Poupart is a real journalist. Shout out to him. Yeah, Alan does a good job, dude. They all do it. They all do a good job. They all do a good job in their own right, and their own way. There's a flavor for everybody, dude. That's just kind of the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever style you like, you can find it out there, and you gravitate to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what this country's all about, man. Do whatever you want. That's all. Not a big deal. All right, what else do we have to talk about? No practice today. They'll get back at it tomorrow. I'm not worried about the whole thing with Stillman taking over and all that. We'll talk to Dave Hyde about that here at the top of the hour. Let's see what happens, like I told you guys yesterday, with Sully. Sully is the key now. He's the guy in place. We all got to hope that you can hit with him. And then you don't have to worry about a damn GM for a long, long time. You haven't had one in well over 40, 50 years since the early days of Shula. Once you lost young Thomas and Beathard and those kind of guys from the 70s, very early 80s of the front office, you were never the same again. So Sully is trying to correct a problem that has existed here for over 40 years. If he does that, the Danny Silman stuff doesn't matter. The Danny Silman stuff will only matter is if Sully is fired and he doesn't succeed, and then Danny Silman now has to be put to the test. Can he find the GM or the coach? The things that everybody has failed to do for 40 years. At the time, now people are freaking out about it. Who cares, dude? Does not matter because the guys are in place now. Now you got to hope that Sully and Half know what the hell they're doing. And if they turn the corner, none of that stuff. Because I got so many DMs about the whole thing about, I get it, dude. The nepotism is there. That's all over the place. Look at the Colts. The daughters took over. And the same thing here. The daughter wanted to keep the team. So the husband gets in place. And the daughters, by the way, are also in charge. They're right there also at the same time. What are you going to do? But it won't matter. Right now, the only thing that matters is that Sully succeeds. For once in our lives, let's see if they find a GM. Because if they don't find a GM, as I've told you, you're not going anywhere. That's the reason why Shula failed in the second half of his career, because he never had the right GM since he wasn't one. And ever since then, we've never had the right GM. Once you get the right GM, that guy can find coaches, that guy can find players, that guy can find personnel people, and he can replace them all because he's the right GM. But we haven't had that in forever. We need it badly. That's the most important thing. So just hope that Sully does the job. That's all. Big O, I'm going with you to the Big Chill. We're going to sign, seal, and deliver the Big Chill as a sponsor. Let's see. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. This show is not for the weak. Yeah, definitely not. And, the Barrys of the world are the weak ones of the world, that they can't handle the truth. Let's see, Big O, like the Hyde combination today, great combination. Yes, did not go well with the first one. I've had Eric on several times, but unfortunately today he had something come up here in the morning, and he was running late and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. Unfortunately. What are you going to do? All right, let's see what we got here. Jackson Dart has, I've told you this already. I've talked to you about Jackson Dart and the way he plays, that it's not conducive to having a long career, as I've told you. I kind of expect him to end up getting injured at one point or another because of stupidity. You want more stupidity? Here's Jackson Dart at practice. We're talking about practice now, where you're actually practicing against your own teammates. So in a play, after scoring a touchdown in a red zone drill, Dart throws the football at cornerback Greg Newsome. So they threw a 15-yard penalty and all that stuff. Harbaugh says, I think he understands that we don't want it for the game-winning extra point. We don't want it to be a 50-yard extra point or so. Harbaugh said, do you think I need to say anything in that case? It's pretty clear-cut. Yeah, but you're in practice, and he still is acting this, and it's your own teammate. And then defensive players were chirping, and they were a little pissed off about it. Kid's got to grow up, dude. He's got to play like a real quarterback and not play like a running back and think that it reminds me a little bit of Jim McMahon. Jackson Dart gives me a little bit of Jim McMahon. And we all were concerned back in the day with Jim McMahon because he also played like he thought he was a linebacker. And that ended up, besides George Martin slamming him to the ground in his shoulder, but you see all the stuff that, the physical ailments that he's dealing with now, and a lot of that had to do with the way he played the game. And you got to understand, dude, when you're a quarterback, you got to be a boxer. You got to be Floyd Mayweather. Everybody complains about Floyd Mayweather's game the last, 15 years of his career because all he did was box, hit and not be hit. And that's kind of what you got to do as a quarterback. You got to be Floyd Mayweather. You got to hit with the football and stay away from all the hits so you can stay in the pocket and stay with your team week in and week out. And you don't take on defenders, and you don't agitate them by throwing the football to their heads or anything like that, especially your own teammate. You're not going to get a lot of sympathy. And eventually, how about if that teammate becomes a free agent? That in this world, your enemy is your teammate the next year. Your teammate is your enemy the following year. What happens there? You think he's going to remember that little football hit? And then he's going to take it out on him. Quarterbacks have got to play the PR game, and they got to be boxers. Jackson Dart has got to learn to be a boxer. That's what he's got to learn. All right. Dave Hyde from Substack, not the Sun Sentinel, next.
Hi, this is Jeff, formerly of Welton Realm, PA, a longtime sponsor of the Big O Show. Now that Dan retired, I opened Welton Associates. I started this firm with a simple belief. When you hire a lawyer, you should be able to talk to your lawyer. For nearly 30 years, I have helped Floridians through serious legal problems. At my firm, you get direct access to me, clear communication, and a lawyer who knows the details of your case. I believe technology should make legal representation easier, not more impersonal. At Welton Associates, you get direct access to me, clear answers, personal attention, and real advocacy. Look us up at weltlawfirm.com or give me a call at 954-966-4646. Consultations are always free. And let me know that you found me at the Big O Show.
There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. Mr. Dave Hyde, good morning to you, sir.
How you doing, Big O?
I am doing great, my man. Can't complain. Welcome aboard to the world of flying solo.
Yeah, it's a little different world for me, but it's kind of liberating in a way. A lot of things I can do, a lot of things I've been wanting to do. So certainly my career in newspapers didn't end the way that I would have drawn it up, but I'm not crying either.
You got a hell of a run, dude. You can't complain and all of that. Look, when I got let go, I made it to 30 years, dude. For me to make it to
It's crazy.
30 years the way I do radio, where I don't hold back, where I don't play the PR game, I don't know how they kept me around that long, to be quite honest. You know what I mean? I know.
In the newspapers, since I remember being in the Beijing Olympics 2008, and I was talking to the LA Times editor, and he said, "This is the end of it." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It'll never be like this again, where we send this many people over to cover Olympics." And he was right. So there's like a line of demarcation. After that, friends started falling off in the business. So I was, it was a.
It got frozen there a little bit. You there, Dave?
Yeah, I might have to move places here.
Yeah, you're freezing up a little bit there in the process. Yes, unfortunately. Did you do it on your phone, or did you do it on your computer where you got the?
Yeah, I can do it on my phone. Here. Let me get you dialed up. I'll go out and come right back. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
If I can get out of here.
All right, you got it. We will give Dave Hyde a minute.
Come on in to Toyota of Hollywood, where curiosity and extraordinary deals await you. Your golden ticket buys a 2025 Corolla, not $26,000, $17,988. And we've got sweet deals with 0% financing for 72 months, 0 down. Enter our world of wonder, and we'll show you why we're the #1 volume Toyota dealer. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Price, service, selection. Get all this and more at South Florida's #1 loved Subaru store. Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Save today with our 3 ways to save. 0% financing, 0 down payment, or make no payments for 90 days. From Subaru of Pembroke Pines.
Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. We're back. Sorry. You guys got me now? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll get Dave Hyde back in a minute here. Hopefully he'll join us, because I guess he did not have great reception. So we'll get him back in a minute here, and we'll get his thoughts off the Canes. And I'm going to even ask him about the Marlins, because he was, defending Bruce Sherman about how much money he has, but you can have all the money, but you don't spend it. That doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, I don't care how much money you have, do you actually spend? Because you're going to have to spend some if you really want to be competitive. And they just have not gotten to that point, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. Silver is also rising too. So things are turning around. How can I got it cranked up? How can you guys barely hear me? Barely hear me? Seriously? Wow. Hold on. Let's take a water break. But it sounds fine on the but I turn it on the iPad. It sounds fine. How come it sounds fine on my iPad when I crank up the audio? Walter says it's fine. Okay, Kosa says it's fine. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Let's see what else. Great to see Dave back on the show. Yes. Well, this offseason, there's nothing to – I don't want to bother people when there's nothing going on. I'm not big on that. I'd rather call somebody when there's actual stuff going on and we can actually talk about something tangible. But just to have people to have them on, I can do the talking. I'm fine. There's plenty of things going on. I'll talk about it myself, and I can give you my opinions on a lot of the stuff that's going on that I keep up with. But I don't like to bother people just to fill a segment. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? I think Dave is having some issues with that. I think, you know what? I'm going to help him. This is what I'll do. I'm going to help him. Because I think he's having trouble. Let's see. Okay. I think this will help him. I sent it directly to his phone. Don't know if, because I sent him the original link to his email. So I guess he's having trouble one way or the other. So I just sent him the link directly to his phone and see if he then hits the phone and then he can, do that deal. Norcal says, I'm streaming on 2 different things, my phone and the office. You are awesome. Thank you, my brother. Alan Caballero says, I can barely hear you. I don't understand that. Alan Caballero says I can barely hear you. I don't understand that. It sounds fine to me. So I don't get it. I just put it on my iPad and I just heard myself say, Alan, I can hear myself and all that stuff, and it sounded just perfect. Anyway, what else do we have to talk about? The Cristobal extension. I wanted to get a little bit into that. Because yesterday we did not get into it, unfortunately, and the news broke that he got an extension. We don't have all the details. It's a private school, so they don't have to make all that stuff public. You got to kind of dig and try to find out, and that's up to the beat people to try to see if they can find that out and unearth that information. Mario's not going to be giving away that information. But I was thinking about this. Mario has done a fantastic job rebuilding the program. Clearly now the talent level is at an all-time high. But he hasn't crossed that threshold yet, right? But he was in the national championship game last year. If you're the University of Miami, see, it's kind of an interesting dilemma that you're in. Because you want to lock your guy up, but there's still 5 years left on the deal. There's really no hurry to give him an extension. You really can wait it out a little bit and wait till he actually wins a national championship. But there's a problem. If you wait till he wins the national championship, the salary goes up, the money goes up. See, there's no hurry to really sign Mario Cristobal. Why? He's a Miami guy. Where's he going? Where is Mario going? Nowhere. So this was actually a smart move by the by the Canes to extend him now because they've got their guy. They've never had their guy. every guy has always used as a stepping stone to move on. Mario, it's over. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He's not an NFL guy, and he certainly doesn't want another college job. He wants this one. So the University of Miami really didn't have to re-sign him, didn't have to extend him because they had 5 years left. But it's super smart because you're on the brink now. He's locking up 5 stars like it's going out of style. He's locking up QBs like it's going out of style. You're on what are you going to do? Wait till he wins the title? And then you got to pay him even more? Dude, extend him now, and you won't have to worry about it for a while, and he can win all kinds of titles. Smart move by the Canes. Even because some people, reached out, oh, he's got 5 years left. He hasn't won a title yet. You don't want to wait to that moment. You want to do it where it is now, All right, let's see if we could get this done this time. Although, Dave, you look sideways.
I know. There's something going on here, isn't there? Is that better? Now I gotta find a whole different way to set up the camera, though, Big O. This is the problem with me and technology. We're not on a first name basis yet. So let me.
I've kind of now with technology advanced a little bit. I'm trying to do all things now without a producer. So I've had that technology thing that I've got to kind of overcome myself too sometimes. So yeah, that's.
I got to get my makeup artist and my lighting all in. Them all in set. In addition to my producer and agent. So.
Yeah. So Dave, I was just talking about the thing, and I thought it was genius on their part to re-sign him, even though he had 5 years left and he hasn't crossed that threshold of winning a title. But why wait till he wins the title? He's locking up QBs left and right every year. 5-star players are coming in like it's going out of style. You are a favorite to win the national title. Why wait at this moment? Plus, you have a guy that is what you've never had at the University of Miami, a guy that wants the job, and that's the only job he wants. He doesn't have dreams of using it as a stepping stone. So if you're the University of Miami, I think all around that was a really smart move that before he starts winning titles, let's lock him up now so the price is a little cheaper.
Yeah. What's it? $8 million plus a year. He signed for $8 million before, so I'm sure he got a nice raise. Look, the last 4 games of last year, the playoffs, changed everybody's thinking on the University of Miami. Before that, they're going into the postseason. Were they going to get in? Should Notre Dame get in? It was a debate. The losses to Louisville and SMU allowed that debate to creep in. But then you saw what they did, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Ohio State, and right down to the last possession of the game against Indiana. And that's where really Mario's program took flight. You'd seen him build the program. You'd seen all the 5-star, all the great athletes come in. But until you saw those 4 games, you hadn't got the big results. And look, today's Miami is different than the Miami of Jimmy Johnson or Butch Davis or Larry Coker, in that they have a lot of money now. They have a lot. They didn't have money to keep players. Sam Jankovic told me, look, our way is to get a young, hungry coach for 5 or 6 years, have him win, but he's going to get paid elsewhere because we don't have the money to keep him. Now they have the money. And so why not make sure the foundational piece, the centerpiece, Joe Echeverria, the school president, is into sports. He's the one who drew up the blueprint to this turnaround, and Mario's the sort of the vehicle to make it all happen. So it makes sense to sign him.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, last year, the regular season ended up becoming a failure. But because you got into the postseason, that made it a success. And that allowed you to kind of correct what happened in the regular season and take off. You know what I mean? So you turn the corner now. And now you've got a real chance to win the national title this year, which, by the way, today, Dave, is day number 8,980 since the Canes won the title. And you got a real chance to actually turn the corner and win a title now, because this team is now headed in the right direction. The way what you've done now is what you hadn't done in the last 20 years. You hadn't convinced all these young people that you are on the brink, and so you weren't getting any of those 4 and 5 stars. Now he's loading up on the 5 stars. That playoff run was everything to the Canes.
Yeah, no, I agree. And are they the favorites right now? Did you say that? I don't really. Wow.
They're one of the favorites.
One of several. Okay.
They
Yeah.
are the favorites for the ACC. I mean, they
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, they should
Finally.
be.
Yeah. Plus, you don't even have SMU and Louisville on the schedule, which they're the number 2 and 3 teams in the conference to win the conference.
Who set up this schedule? This schedule's awful. They open, look, there's all this excitement around them, and where do they open? Across the country on Friday at 9:00 at night against Stanford. And then they play a Thursday night and then a Friday night. I mean, against nobody. Whoever set up this, the ACC needs a lesson in marketing, considering what they did here.
Well, that's why I call them another crappy conference. That's what that ACC stands for, unfortunately.
I wrote a column. I wrote a column on Substack, Big O. I'm on Substack now. You can look at me on the app or just hit the subscribe button. But I wrote a column on, is Miami's future the Big Ten or the SEC? Because that's coming. That decision's coming.
Oh, for sure. We're going to have 2 power conferences when it's all said and done. I mean, the whole world is about the haves and have-nots, and that's what we do. We create the elitist way of doing things, and that's what's going to end up happening in college football. We'll have the 2 superpowers, and I'm sure Miami and Florida State and Clemson will probably find their way there to those conferences. There's no doubt about that.
Where would you? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, SEC, if you're asking me.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
I would like them in the SEC because of Florida, because of the southern teams. I think it would be really cool. But being in the Big Ten would also be, a lot of fun. Listen, right now we're in the ACC where we've got Stanford in it. This is just Cal and Stanford in the ACC. It's just, Dave, nothing resembles what you and I grew up with, dude.
No, well, and it's not going to again. But again, the ACC, Miami's regular season schedule is really anticlimactic this year. They have 2 games that you look to at Clemson, at Notre Dame, and other than that, it's blah.
Right. Yeah. Well, more reasons for you to run the table, get an undefeated season, win the ACC. And then really take care of business and set your. By the way, Dave, you and I lived this all the time when they were in the Big Least. There wasn't a lot of teams that were challenging them in that conference either. It was the Florida State game. Outside of that, there wasn't a lot of things that were really challenging them when they were in the Big Least.
Yeah. So the way college football is going, and the 2 most powerful people in college sports right now, Big Ten commissioner and the SEC commissioner, they're forcing things, and Miami couldn't have had a great season at a better time to show who they can be, who they are right now. And they're on that big stage platform again. And thank God for that, because if it was 10 years ago and they were middling around, they might get left behind.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so I got to bust your balls a little bit on this one. You wanted to talk up Sherman because people were saying how, well, he's a broke owner and all that, and he's got all the money. But he's got all the money, but he doesn't spend any of it. So does it really matter whether he has money or not? It's still a cheap organization. You and I were going back and forth on Twitter yesterday. I know what these dudes are doing. They're trying to do what the Royals and the Marlins did. Just accumulate as many young guys as you can and then hope in 1 year they all have these career years where you can sprinkle in a free agent or 2 to try to get you over the top, like what happened, because Dombrowski built that entire 2003 team. They only added Urbina, Pierre, Pudge, and Redmond. 4 guys. 4 guys they added to. Everything else was Dombrowski in 98 in the fire sale. Everything else. Without Dombrowski's fire sale, we don't win 03. But that's what happened. The Royals did the same thing in 15. They had a whole bunch of young guys that came up together. They had a magical year. They won it, and then they got rid of everybody. So that's basically what we're doing. We're rooting for the little team that could, and it's kind of like playing the lottery every year, and you're hoping that one day, you roll a 7.
Yeah, I would say that Bruce Sherman was cheap one year, and it was the year they brought in Derek Jeter. And Derek Jeter was running the operation, and that's when they had that great outfield, Stanton and Pablo Ozuna and Marcell Ozuna, and the Milwaukee, and they needed pitching. They should have bought a couple pitchers and tried to see what happened. Instead, they tore it all down. Jeter tore it all down, got nothing. Look, Sherman, I'm in the middle on Sherman. I don't know what to think, but here's his plan. They had nothing when he took over. It was the worst minor league system by Baseball America, USA. No, whoever you went by, and one draft choice. Nick, what's his name? The backup catcher, Nick Fuente, not Fuente, but yes, he was the one draft pick who made it. And so they had nothing. So here's what they did. They said, like everybody, we're going to build through the draft. And then they went out and found bad guys. But the big plan here was 2 years ago, they said the collective bargaining agreement's over in 2 years. And the owners say, good luck to them. They say they're going to bring in a salary cap and a salary floor. Sure. Okay. Sure. And
by the way, when are the Dodgers supposed to be compliant for that? Because
I'm with you. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is the plan. And so right now they're at 80 million. Okay, they've gone out and Peter Bendix has found some players. Lopez at short, Edwards at second. They've developed Joe Mack into, so you can go down the list of anyways. Surprise year.
You have to sign them. You have to sign a core. You have to sign 4, 5, 6 guys that you're going to have around every year, so kids can grow up and you can build around. I know they're not going to be the Dodgers or the Yankees where they can pay a core of 10, 12, 15 players. That's not. But if you're going to be at least competitive in the majors, you're going to need to sign a core of 4, 5, 6 players.
I agree. So they're playing their payroll is the lowest right now at 80 million. All right. The idea is if the owners get their way, and again, I don't know, we'll see. The basement salary cap basement would be about 150. They're saying. So just for the sake of argument, then the Marlins would have to spend $70 million. And there comes your idea of signing a core, finding players, and having some money to go. We'll see what works. All I know is no matter who the owner has been of the Marlins, they've all had one thing in common, and that is they say the finances don't work. We're not spending money. No matter how rich they were, how poor they were, what they went out. Look, John Henry went on and afterwards and spent money in Boston and Liverpool and everywhere else, but not here. So the financial model, look, it's just not people don't go out for whatever reason. People aren't going out to watch baseball, and we can come up with a million reasons, but whether it was in.
You've never made it a destinational type of thing, dude. You've never done.
I
You've
agree.
never made the commitment that Mickey Arison has made. You've never made the commitment that Vinny Viola has made to hockey. Hockey. If you can get, excuse the French, fucking hockey to be hot in South Florida, you certainly can get baseball to be hot in South Florida. But if you never commit to keeping people around, to being a winner, crazy ass Moss would have done it. Look what he's done with
There you
soccer.
go. There you go. There's baseball screwed up right there. If Jorge Moss, I sat behind home plate when Jorge Moss was about to buy the team with Moss, and he sounded just it's about done except for the papers. And then I get the feeling, I mean, I know he feels baseball pulled the rug out from under him. Soccer's gain, MLS's gain. Look at what he's done there. So, but you're right. Franchises like this change when one man comes through the door, whether it's the owner in this case, or whether look at the Panthers. I mean, they changed when
They're now in the black. They were probably in the red after the first title. They were probably still in the red, dude. They're now in the black. Now is when.
Well, but they changed when Bill Zito came through the door for them. It wasn't so much the owner. He I mean, it was the owner, but because he hired Bill Zito. But that's what they got to do. So we'll see. I'm curious of the Marlins plan. I'm not sitting here saying, pounding the table that this is the right way around, but we'll see if their plan works. Now, they're a fun team to watch right this year. Now, that's hard to maintain, though, having, like you said, constant turnover. You can't maintain it unless you're Tampa Bay. You can do it if you're Tampa Bay.
Look what you just did right now. You just traded a couple players, one of your leading RBI guys, and you did it all for minor leaguers. Nothing that can help you right now. That's not winning, dude.
Yeah, but you know what?
The Tampa Bay story is nice too, but they don't commit either. They don't. The problem with Moneyball is that they don't put money into it. And that's what Boston and these other teams said, oh, yeah, I see that Moneyball stuff. Let's add money to it, and then it all of a sudden it'll win. And that's the difference with all these A's, Rays, and now the Marlins trying to do the Moneyball thing. You end up falling short if you don't commit by keeping some of your stars that you develop around on a long-term basis.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with the Liam Hicks trade. I get it. There isn't a position for him. Is he a big enough hitter to be the DH? He was for 2.5 months this year when he had 11 home runs and 45, was leading majors with 45 RBIs through May. But since then, he's had like 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. So, they needed third baseman. They went out and traded for a third baseman in that trade. That was the biggest guy they got back. We'll see if it happens.
All right. So I'm glad that you brought up Bill Zito and you're talking about what Bendix has done and all that. Dave, I've been talking about this now throughout the offseason. That's the entire Dolphins problem for 40-something years. Ever since Thomas, Beathard, Young, all those people left the front office in the 70s to the beginning of the 80s. And when Shula was on his own, from there on out, Shula, the GM, would screw over Shula, the coach. Remember how we used to say that all the time back in the day, Dave? That Shula, the GM, would screw over Shula, the coach. And then all the GMs after that have failed too at the same time, to build the culture, to find the coaches, to find the players, all those kind of things. In the end, you could talk about all you want. You could talk about Malik. You could talk about any of the players. It really comes down to John Eric Sullivan. If John Eric Sullivan is not the guy, then the Dolphins will continue to be what the Dolphins have been for 40 years, a rudderless ship, because they don't have the guy at the top that knows how to find the next coach and the next coach and the next personnel guy and the other personnel guy and the other scouts and these players and those players and sign that guy and trade for that guy. If you don't have the magic of that one dude, it won't work.
The most important person in any professional franchise is the guy picking the players. You go down that's proven time after time. And then when he picks the play, the quarterback, Tom Brady was the most important. Well, okay, but who got Tom Brady in there, who developed him and all that to the point he was Tom Brady. So especially when so much, but just like when I wrote columns when they were tanking and they handed the reins over to Chris Greer saying, everything rides on him. They're betting everything on him, whether they realize it or not. And I don't think they realized it. And
Well, I mean,
just
for the first at that moment right there, you didn't even communicate with your head coach about tanking,
yeah.
which would have really kickstarted your entire run a lot better if everybody was on the same page. Okay, we're all tanking, great. Now you end up with Joe Burrow. But you didn't end up tanking because the coach wasn't into tanking, which again, the lack of communication right from the get-go buried you.
So the good thing about this year, um, Sullivan, they brought in, so they went out and they said, who's the best personnel guy we can get? And that was, they chose Sullivan. Then Sullivan said, I'm going to, the other thing was, now this was a little odd what happened. I imagine oddities around the Dolphins off season, but again, you have Black Monday on the day after the season. Black Monday, coaches get fired, GMs get fired. Remember, the Dolphins kept Mike McDaniel Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And by Wednesday night, everybody's saying, well, I guess he's staying because, that's a big room. And then on Thursday, Steve Ross interrupted a meeting between McDaniel and tight end Darren Waller, sort of an exit meeting, and had to tell McDaniel, no, we're firing you. And so there was a little hesitation in there of following through with the plan because Sullivan wasn't going to. He hadn't been announced yet. He wasn't. I'm sure he said, "You got to clean house before because I'm bringing my own guy in," and that was Steve Ross's final hesitation on what to do. I think because Daniel Silman, who now takes over, I'm told he was sold on Sullivan, and it was his plan to do exactly what has been done: marry the coach and the GM, get the GM, marry the coach and GM together, and let him, as Sullivan has done, clean up the front office. About half of the executives and scouts in the front office have changed. That's a big change that sort of under the radar and that you don't see it. But it's been a sensible offseason for the Dolphins, and I can't remember the last time I've said that.
Well, it was Troy Aikman that suggested Sullivan, and then I would imagine then the people in the building either decided they like him or they don't, right? Is that kind of the way it went? And then
Yeah.
I guess Silman was the guy that was one of them. But the old man, I mean, it's twisted, dude. You bring back McDaniel, and your candidates for GM, 3 of them are San Francisco guys. Boy, they were intent on keeping McDaniel and pairing him up with one of the San Fran guys at the beginning. That was, you could tell that Ross really wanted to keep that kind of, and then obviously from what I'm hearing, not only Sullivan, but some of the other candidates said that they wanted to hire their own coach. It wasn't most of those candidates weren't necessarily embracing Mike McDaniel, is what I'm told. Did you hear the same thing?
Well, I know Sullivan wanted the house cleared, okay? But really, anybody, they've gone through this process so many times in the wrong way of marrying a coach who's there and bringing in a GM and trying to force it, or marrying a GM, doing the opposite. And this is the first time in Steve Ross's tenure, almost 2 decades, where they're starting, everybody, the coach and GM starting at the same time. And that's important because, okay, they're going to have a rough year. Now they can take all this dead salary cap money, $172 million, and they say, okay, it's our first year. Let's get all the problems out of the way and try to develop a rookie class. Try to find some 1-year wonders and who will, their careers can take root here. But it's going to be painful, but we'll build into year 2. That's the idea. Now, Sullivan, or excuse me, Daniel Silman's idea was to bring in Aikman, and for 30 seconds when I heard they were bringing Aikman, I was like, why are they bringing in Aikman? Then I go, oh, fresh blood. Guy who's been behind the curtain of every franchise in his TV role and knows what, really it's hard to know who's the top GM prospect other than what people are telling you, but Aikman had gone and talked to different people, and probably I don't know. I assume he talked to Sullivan through the years, and so hiring Aikman, I thought that was a smart move, again, there's not much I can complain about this Dolphin offseason. It all makes sense for once. Now, does it work? We'll see, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, everything. Hell, even the Halfley sounds like a real head coach, which is fun. The only thing right now for me that doesn't make sense has been the whole Proctor thing. Don't get it. I would be practicing him at right tackle along with the left guard spot. All kinds of players play multiple positions. You have Chris Johnson playing multiple positions at corner, playing inside, outside. So this whole thing that if he can't handle it, then I would be worried about that because he's supposedly supremely gifted. And if he is, and by the way, he's better suited to play tackle. So his bigger adjustment is playing at guard. So you give him, you know what I would do? Even when Austin Jackson comes back, I'd still play him at right tackle sometimes. I'd play Austin Jackson at left guard for the hell of it because just in case if Austin goes down, I already have given him reps and he's ready to go at right tackle. Plus, his future is at tackle, not at guard. So the only thing that right now leaves me baffling is how he's mishandling the Caden Proctor situation on the line. I don't really understand what he's doing there.
Yeah. To be honest, I thought they were going to put him at tackle, right tackle. And their argument was this is our best line with. And look, when Austin Jackson's healthy, he's an average right tackle. That's fine. But the problem is already in camp. As through this offseason, he hadn't practiced this offseason because of his foot. Now he's out again. He's missed 20 games the last 2 years. So what are you going to do when he goes down? And right now their backup, like most teams' backups, aren't very good. And so I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
No, it gets worse. You're not practicing somebody at left guard while you're doing this. You're supposed to be playing Proctor at times at right tackle to be ready just in case. And at the same time, you should be prepping somebody to play left guard because eventually, because he's so injury prone, you're going to have to move Proctor to right tackle and somebody's going to have to play left guard. There's a domino effect to this. So he's actually mishandling two positions, not just
now.
one.
The question, and this will have to play out. I assume they see his future at tackle. There have been guys who have stayed inside. Zach Martin of Dallas came in as a highly rated,
but he was a guard.
But they thought he was going to be a tackle. And so I don't know. That'd be my only.
Dave, I said this yesterday. If he plays guard, I'm going to be fucking pissed because you passed up on Ruben Bain for a guard.
I don't disagree with you.
No. You can pass up on Ruben Bain for an ass-kicking tackle. No problem. If you're going to tell me he's going to play like Patrick Paul on the right side, no problem. We can pass up on Bain because that's more important to have that. But if you're going to tell me that he's going to end up at guard, no, I would have taken Ruben Bain. No.
I agree with you there. At the same time, I agree with you, but look at the left side of their thing was look at the left side of the line. We have Patrick Paul, a Proctor, 12 pick who's massive too, and Aaron Brewer, and we're going to run behind that all day. And so that's their thinking. That's their thinking.
And bro, throw Kaczmarek next to Paul, and you know what I'm saying? No,
yeah.
I understand all of that, my brother. I totally understand. But if you got a good GM, you can find a guard in the second, third rounds that will do a great job for you for 10 years if you know how to draft.
And you know what? We talk about
Ruben Bain. I'm passing up on him because I'm getting a tackle. I don't want a guard to pass up on Ruben Bain, bro. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing that.
I'm with you. The Green Bay way, if we're following that format, is exactly that. They're not taking, centers and guards in the first round, or they're finding them in the third and fourth round, and good players, and they have good lines, and so yeah, I was a little surprised that he didn't start at tackle.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And for you, you're not looking at wins this year, right? You're just looking to see if these guys know how to coach, if they can develop a culture, if the young guys you drafted are developing, if the young guys from last year are making progress. For you, that's really the agenda of this year. It's not measuring really about wins. It's really about how you lose, or how you play, or how you're structured, or there aren't any pre-snap penalties and things like that, right? That's what you're kind of looking forward to this year more than anything else, right?
Yeah, I walked into, to me, the comparison to this is New England a couple years ago, where they won 4 games. They took a lot of pain because they didn't spend money. They didn't have money to spend. And yet I walked into the press box before a game in November, and there was Alonzo Highsmith, the personnel director of New England. Talked to him. He goes, "I know one thing: we got our quarterback." Okay, and Drake May, the rookie, he 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, I believe. So the numbers weren't pretty, but if you watched him play with little out there, little help, you said he's making play. I like that. I like it, and that's what you want to at the end of the year say about Malik Willis. His numbers aren't pretty. We didn't have a number 1 or number 2 receiver. Didn't have a lot of defensive help. But I walk away saying, you know what? There's something there. I like that, and that's sort of what you want. Some of these young guys, I like that. I like where they're going because, 4.5 is the over under, and I think they're going to struggle to get over it. I think.
Oh yeah, no, they'll struggle to get 2 to 3 wins. This is going to be a bad year. It's going to be a bad year, but that's all right. It's a developmental year, and as long as I see competent football, I'm good. Look, I had fun with Feronis last week on this subject, and I'll have fun with you on this one. The Dolphins are eligible this year for moral victories.
I agree. Look, they are spending 40 cents, actually 38.6 cents on the dollar. For every other team spending $1 with salary cap at 302 million, the Dolphins are spending 38 cents of that because they're taking such a massive dead cap money on Tua and Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek and Waddle and down the line.
But our boy Omar Kelly thinks the cap is fake.
Well, there are elements of it. There are elements of it that are exaggerated, but it's not fake when you're taking $172 million of dead cap money. Okay,
it's a credit card. It's a credit card that will catch up to you at one point
Yes.
or another. You will have to answer to it at one point or can you put it off? Of course you can put it off, but you can only put it off for so much time. At one point or another, it's going to come to roost, man. It just is, and here's ours.
Yeah, and I like that they're taking all the medicine at once. They could have kept, like if you're going to keep somebody, I would have kept like a Bradley Chubb or a Waddle just because you're empty at those positions, and they would have help the other guys grow maybe. Okay, but at the same time, you got a 1 and a 3 for Waddle. Look, New England got a 1 and what, a 5 for AJ Brown. And so you had to take that trade. And as much as I would have liked Chubb on this team because of who you talk about a good guy, but he's hurt every other year. He's expensive and he's 31, and so he didn't fit into what was going on here.
Yep. All right. Well, Dave, you're on Substack kicking some ass. You're doing also some Canes writing too, I hear.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about where you're venturing into.
Yeah, so really the main thing right now is Substack and offshoots from that. Like I'll be writing a column for Substack, and Kane Sports is going to pick that up once a week. And so Yeah, I'm just feeling out this new world. Really, there's a book or two I got in motion. We'll see how that's going. So a lot of things like I said, the newspaper career didn't end the way I expected. At the same time, okay, now I got time to do a lot of things that I want to do. And what do you say, a solo artist, Big O? It's kind of fun. It's going to be fun.
It's the best, dude. I'm in my 7th year. It is the best. It's the most freedom I've ever had. But by the way, you knew something was up when your company's owned by a hedge fund. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it's
I've known something's been up for about 2 decades in the newspaper business, right? No, not a lot of surprise going on.
That's why I tell people that if any of us in our business have an opportunity to go on their own, do it, man. Do it. It's the best because you'll have the freedoms that you've never had as long as you can find the sponsors and people that believe in you and all those kind of things. It just works out. And then people that support you and they get on. So you're not doing a YouTube channel yet?
Well, that's the next. That's the next question. That's the next question. How to start one of those? But yeah, the newspaper business. The Sun Sentinel's down to 4 sports writers trying to cover the world, and the Herald at least has 7.5. They're trying a little more than to. But it's difficult. When I started there were 49 people in sports. Now there's 8. There's the industry. That's what's happened to the industry.
Yeah, man. It's unfortunately both my industry that I was in, radio, and the newspaper business. Those are the 2 ends that are really dying badly, dude. Unfortunately, and that's the sad part of our business. The worst thing that did happen to radio was those rules that came into place, 20 some years ago, when they allowed all these corporations to buy up all those stations. When we had more independence all over, it was so much better for us. There were more jobs available. And when this happened, when those rules changed, there were very few jobs available now at that point. It's brutal, dude. Brutal. But we can adjust. And that's the beauty, my brother. And that's what
Evolve or die, right? Isn't that the idea? That's what I'm doing.
That's what I've been telling everybody about the dollar and Bitcoin. Evolve or die. It's just kind of the way it goes. Follow him on Twitter at Dave Hyde Sports, and make sure you subscribe to his Substack so you can get his article every time in your inbox. Dave, thank you for taking some time, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Good seeing you, Big O. Take care.
You got it, my man. There it is. Dave
The
Hyde.
Memorial Day event starts now at Florida's #1 volume Subaru store, Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy a new Subaru today with financing as low as 0% APR, or lease a new Outback for only $278 a month. Shop SPPLove.com.
All right. We thank Dave Hyde. And you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. You can send in your questions, comments, insults. Bitcoin, by the way, is at 64,458. The Dow is up 444 points. The S&P is up a point. The NASDAQ is up about half a point. SpaceX is down 10 points. Told you suckers' money came in yesterday. I'm expecting a big dip tomorrow, baby. I think tomorrow we go under 100. Okay? That's what I think. All right. Let's see. So glad the franchise got a GM and head coach at the same time, says Kosa. Danny and Hialeah can't hear anything. Jeff in Long Island says, I hear everything. Dave is louder, but I hear Big O. Not as loud, but I hear him. Okay. I don't get it. I have that thing cranked up. I don't know how you guys don't hear me. Cranked it up even more there. Is it all right there? Let's see. Scatterbrain and the quarterback are not going to finish the year. Harbaugh made a mistake in going over there. Well, we'll see what happens. But I'm all for the soap opera, dude. Good. So there you go. Turn down the gain, Dave. I think he may not know what gain is at that point. All right, so you guys got me? We're good? Okay. Big Johnson says we're good. All right. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? I saw this guy. I don't know who he is, but I read this article, and I would imagine that it's the tooth. And it has to do, and again, I am all here for it. Okay? I'm all here for it. But Josh Pate, he's a sports analyst, and he is predicting that Belichick probably doesn't make it through the season. He says, a guy that's smart so badly miscalculated the situation of what it would take to win in college football, it blows my mind. And I'm not saying, Belichick shouldn't have taken the job. If someone's going to offer you the job of North Carolina, if they're stupid enough to do it, yeah, you take it. My point is, I can't believe they were dumb enough to think that winning in college football was going to be easier than winning in the NFL. But I think that's the arrogance of a lot of guys who coach in the NFL for a long time and when they look at college football, they think, well, this is professional football. That's college. That's like a light version of what we do. They are the minor leagues down there. And so he thinks that Belichick, he says, I think they will wash their hands of this entire experiment at some point this year. I think that will happen, and I think North Carolina's job will be open. I don't know how else to tell you this. And I would agree with him that this is the year you fire. After everything that's gone on and continues to go on and everything, if you're North Carolina and you keep Belichick around, you really don't care about your program and you don't care about the image of your program because the image of your program is dog shit right now. Absolute and total dog shit. That's your program right now. So I don't understand how listen, to me, he probably should have already been fired this offseason. Because you got to see that it's not going anywhere. But they're going to give it one more year. And I would imagine that after this year's a disaster, you either fire him sometime during the season, next controversy or whatever, but you got to rid yourself of this old fart and the chick. It's an absolute joke, dude. But I'm all here for it, dude. Any frustrations that guy goes through, I am here for it. Failures that guy goes through, I'm all here for it, man. I'm loving it. Okay? All right. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. In fact, I'll be laughing my ass off when they do fire him. Visit our friends at Subaru Pembroke Pines, 16100 Pines Boulevard. Right now, your adventure to upgrade awaits, folks. And the Forester right now, the base, you can get it for $227 a month, 1.9% financing. The Ascent Premium, $337 a month, 0.9% financing. The Outback Premium, $277 a month, 0.9% financing. The Crosstrek, it's a joke, $179 a month. That's super affordable. 1.9% financing, again, a joke. The Impreza Sport, $207 a month, 2.9% financing. The WRX Premium, that's a fun little car, $347 a month, 1.9% financing, and loaded too, baby. Go check it out for yourself at 16100 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines, just a couple of miles west. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you there at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Go see Alan, the general manager, and go see Eric Stampone, the sales manager. He is good people out there at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Big O, what do you call the Chargers' offensive room with McDaniel and Adam Gase? Hit me up a few names. Stoner and Loner. That's quick. I mean, you want some quick wit? McDaniel and Gase, Stoner and Loner. The Stoner-Loner offense. Right? Nobody's more alone than Adam Gase. Nobody's more stoned than Mike McDaniel. Stoner and Loner. There you go. I even rhymed for you and everything. That's how we roll here on the show, folks. Okay? That's how we roll. Big O, there's nothing better than live YouTube. Thank you, Oscar. Yes, that is true. That is true. I always laugh because when people say, well, it's a podcast. No, it's podcasted. We're actually a live YouTube show that's podcasted. Because when you just podcast, then you're doing it pre-recorded and you're dressing it all up and all that. Kind of like what I do after the show. When you hear the audio, I kind of clean up the audio. If you listen to it after, you'll hear the audio. I clean up the audio in there and some of the mistakes or the ums or whatever things that I screw up in throughout the show. Yeah, I end up cleaning it out of the audio. That's part of podcasting. That you edit, you just don't post it. You go through it, you listen to it, and you clean out everything from it, and then put it up, and we put up the different sound bites and all that. And there you go. So that's what you do. The rapping, that's me. No rapper can rap quite like I can. I'll take a muscle-bound man, put his face in the sand. I'm the last mafioso. Anyway, we'll continue. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Send in your questions, comments, insults. We appreciate that as always. The UFC fighter, man. Wow. Alan Nascimento. Kid died at 34 years old. He had a heart attack. Man, I saw that news. Prayers to him and his family. Rest in peace. 34 years old. The first thing I thought of when I saw that, these athletes, man, they're so intense, so dedicated, and maybe a little crazy that they take so many supplements and so many things that they do to either lose weight, maintain that loss, or improve the strength or stamina or whatever, and you just wonder how much they push their bodies and some of that stuff. And again, we're all built different. And what affects one person one way doesn't affect another person another way. DNA is all different. One person can smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and die at 97. Another person smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day and dies at 37. It's the stuff you can't even answer. You know what I'm saying? But wow, I saw that, and the poor kid, 34 years old, had a heart attack. How in the hell does that happen? Scary stuff, dude. It's like for me, my life, I got to tell you, man, and anybody out there, has anybody out there that's listening, have you ever had like heart issues? Like I have 5 stents in my heart. 5 stents, 3 in one artery, 2 in another. Anybody that's had heart issues, I wonder if when you've had your heart issues, right? After that, doesn't everything freak you out? Because that's what happens to me. Man, it's just like ever since I got close to a heart attack, any kind of pain in my chest or whatever, I'm already thinking the worst. It's the worst thing ever is to have a heart issue, and then when you if you're lucky to survive it, which I was, but it will then be a reminder constantly for the rest of your life, no matter what. You might have tweaked something and you feel something here in your chest and you're like, hey man, did I tweak something? Did I pull something? Or is it something in my arteries, in my chest, or what's going on? It's the weirdest thing, man. The heart stuff is scary, man. Absolutely scary. The Diana Rossini segment in the show, need a divorce attorney, wealth and divorce. There you go. There you go. Bijan Robinson should have a monster season. As we know, he got the money. Well, he's going to have a monster season anyways. He's a special player. The only thing that'll stop him is an injury, of course, like any other player. Big O drinking all of those energy drinks, that's the liquid cocaine before they work out. That's freaking crazy. It could be that, but, you know, they also inject themselves, supplements. They do all kinds of stuff. But I know that they push themselves so much. And the extremes they go to lose weight before fights and all that kind of, oh, man. Fighters, and I'm talking boxers, MMA, it doesn't matter. What they put their bodies through, oof, dude, it's crazy. Now, from the common sense department, the NBA is beginning to shift its focus towards the upcoming season. So after a busy draft and free agency period, the league's next step in the preseason, a quest for the NBA Finals is about to begin. But this year's exhibition schedule will feature a notable change. In previous years, the league held several preseason games overseas, particularly in the Middle East. However, with growing tensions between the United States and Iran growing, those things are old and mature, man. What are you talking about? Iran have seemingly put those plans on hold. ESPN reports that the NBA will not play preseason games in the Middle East this year. For the first time in 5 years, the NBA will not play any preseason games in the Middle East. The decision comes amid the war between the United States. It's an excursion, not a war. Ask the orange fart. Just hanging out. Excursion, like when you go to Disney World. It's an excursion. That's all. Going to Six Flags, it's an excursion. Going to Busch Gardens, an excursion. You're going out to try to kill, Iranians. It's an excursion. Same thing. Isn't it the same thing? Anyway. So the decision comes amid the war, of course, and it comes despite reports that the league has been exploring the possibility of hosting its first regular season game in Doha, Qatar. Earlier this year, the NBA and Abu Dhabi's Department of Culture and Tourism announced an extension of their existing partnership. The agreement included preseason NBA Global Games, expanded marketing initiatives, and the launch of NBA Global Academy. Shocker. You don't want to play in the Middle East this year? I wonder why. I wonder if drones took out all the basketball courts, too, since they took out, all the U.S. bases everywhere. Did they take out the basketball courts? Just wondering. Yeah. Crazy stuff. What else? Too much forcing and straining the body. Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. So we have somebody on that is called May Cockman. Okay. What can I tell you? Oh, man. Dolphins will get back to practicing tomorrow. By the way, Inter Miami is playing tonight against Atlético de San Luis in the useless Leagues Cup. Does anybody care if they win the Leagues Cup? It's about winning the MLS Cup or CONCACAF, which you got eliminated early, and I know that's what they wanted big time. They wanted that one to happen for them, and it didn't, unfortunately. May you hear? Oh, man. By the way, Furones will join us on Friday. We'll have some fun. We'll see if we can catch up with Eric tomorrow. I'll try to reschedule him tomorrow for the show and see if we can get Eric Edholm on and have a little fun with him. We appreciate him overall because he's a really good dude. But unfortunately, shit happens, man. You know, things happen, and sometimes live doesn't go as planned. And today, some of it didn't go as planned, and we apologize for that. Anyway, we thank all of you for tuning in. As always, we appreciate the support. If you hit the like button, thank you for hitting that like button. Made a donation, we appreciate that. Or visit our amazing sponsors like Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard. Go see Larry Schlossberg and all the great people out there. We shall see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.